Hey everybody, Dr. Kevin Hyde here with pinellasanxietyspecialists. It's day 21 of the 30 days of live videos, and today I just wanted to take some time to talk about how do you find the right therapist for you. Because anybody who's ever looked into finding a mental health professional knows that it's a really scary thing to do, because you're putting yourself out there and you know that you're going to have to be vulnerable with this person to get that help that you need for whether it's anxiety, depression, bipolar, whatever the mental health issue. You know that there's going to be some stuff that's going to come up, and especially if it's something like trauma, where you're going to have to share something that is very personal, very hurtful and painful to you, even grief, losing someone that you've loved. All of that is just, you're sharing that internal struggle that you're having with somebody who you don't even know if you can trust. And so all of us in the mental health field, we should know and we should respect the fact that just reaching out, sending an email or making a phone call, it's a really big step. And if you're in that phase right now where you're doing the research and you're just about to reach out, really know that my heart goes out to you, and I think that you're making the right decision. Just reaching out is the first step in healing over whatever it is that's hurting you. Okay, so the first step in the process is there are a couple things you want to think about before you even really start doing a whole lot of research. One of which is the financial aspect, because right now in the mental health field, we're finding that the insurance companies don't value mental health services as much as we would say that they probably should. And so they are not paying therapists very well for their time. And so there's this divide between in-network therapists and out-of-network therapists. And so for an in-network therapist, that's somebody who has contracted with your insurance company, and your insurance company is going to pay maybe most of the bill. There might be a deductible that you have to pay for each session, a co-payment for each session, but there also might be a deductible. So you want to check with your insurance company to see what they would reimburse for mental health services. Because a lot of times with insurance plans these days, what we're finding is that the deductible, that amount that you have to pay out of pocket before the insurance actually kicks in and pays anything for the services, is so high that it really doesn't make a difference whether you're working with somebody in network or out of network. So definitely check with your insurance company about what your specific plan is for mental health services. So if it's important to you to use your insurance, you're going to want to probably look on your insurance's website or call the number on your card and find a list of providers that are in network. Because if you see that, then you know that they're going to accept your insurance and it's going to be not too much of a hassle. Now, if you're looking for somebody that is, for other reasons, you might want to go out of network. So what out of network is someone like me, who I don't actually have any contracts with any insurance companies. And so the people that I work with, they pay my fee at the time of our session, and then I can give them a detailed bill that they can submit to their insurance company for potential reimbursement. And now some people have good out-of-network benefits, and it's almost like they were seeing somebody that was in their insurance network and they get 80% reimbursed. Other people don't have any out-of-network benefits, and so they just pay the session fee out of pocket, and they consider that an investment into their health by doing that. And so some reasons that people might want to do that is if you are looking for somebody who is going to really fit with you, and it's going to be you deciding who you work with rather than the insurance company deciding who you work with. Insurance companies, sometimes they want to review records, so your confidentiality can be a concern if they're looking at into the records and seeing the things that we've talked about that are in the file. To go with insurance, you need to have a mental health diagnosis on file, and that's something that can stick with you. It can prevent you from doing certain jobs, like in the law enforcement field or pilots. A lot of times they're not allowed to have certain mental health diagnoses. So you're going to want to sort of know that ahead of time, whether that's going to affect you or not. And so by going out of network, we don't need to have an official mental health diagnosis. We don't need to submit any records to the insurance company. And confidentiality is a big thing, where we've seen some big companies like Target, the U.S. government, they've all suffered those data breaches, and so a lot of our personal information has gotten out there. And so just one thing to keep in mind, with insurance companies, they are keeping that information, and so there's always that possibility they could get hacked and your information could get out there. Okay? So another thing to consider is whether you want to go with a generalist or a specialist. So a generalist is someone who has training in working with all sorts of different mental health concerns, and they, if you have it, they'll help you. So that's sort of like going to your primary care doctor. They can help with a lot of sort of mild things, help you get through over the, tell you if you have the flu versus something more serious, if there's an infection, prescribe antibiotics, things like that, versus going to a specialist where that they focus on one specific area. So for me, anxiety is really my specialty. It's an area where I got a lot of training in, have a lot of experience in, and that's the thing that I'm really passionate about working with. So if you come to me for anxiety, you know that there's a good chance that I've worked with those issues before, and we can hopefully make progress quicker than you could with somebody who only sees anxiety periodically. So for example, that would be like going to a cardiologist to deal with heart concerns, or seeing an oncologist to deal with cancer. Those are the specialists versus seeing that primary care doctor who is more generalist. So those are some things to consider, whether you want that specialist for whatever you think is affecting you, anxiety, depression, bipolar, whatever it might be, or somebody who just sees anything. Okay, so next you want to start that search. And to do that, you can do something as simple as a Google search. A lot of people like to do that. Most therapists have websites these days. Another resource would be directories like Psychology Today, Good Therapy, Open Path Collective. All of these are places where therapists pay to list their names and a little bit of information about themselves. So you can just go to one place and see maybe 12 people, or sometimes it's these 6 pages worth of people who say that they have experience working with like anxiety, depression, again, whatever it might be. So that's another resource for you. So what you want to do then, once you've narrowed it down to maybe a few people from your Google search or from that search on Psychology Today, you want to look at their websites. You want to read what they've written, if they got any blogs out there, videos, things like that, so that you can see if, get a little flavor for their personality. If this is somebody that you can rule out as, I do not want to work with them, it doesn't sound like they know what I'm going through, doesn't sound like they know what they're talking about, or they don't have the right experience. Whatever it is, you might want to rule people out based on what you read. Or you might say, hey, I can see myself working with this person. It seems like they understand my concerns. They really get what I'm going through. I'll give them a call and see. And so at that point, what a lot of therapists do is they offer free consultations. And so those are, 10, 15, 20-minute phone calls where you can ask the therapist any questions that you have. They're going to want to know a little bit about what you're going through, what your experience has been, to see if it's a good fit with their knowledge and their experience and your challenges. And by doing that, again, you get a little more flavor for the personality and if you want to start with them. Okay, and so once you've done that, and you might do that with one person, you might do that with 3, whatever it is, then you'll decide to schedule an initial appointment. And so in that initial appointment, the therapist is going to ask you a whole bunch of questions to understand and try and arrive at a diagnosis and probably come up with some kind of a treatment plan. So you've got a roadmap for how treatment is going to look, how you're going to move forward, how you're going to reach your goals. And as you're going through the first session and the first few sessions, you should really be looking at how things are going between you and the therapist. If you go in the room and you just get kind of like a creepy vibe, or just don't feel like you can trust the person, those are signs that it's probably not a good fit and that you might want to look for something else. Because all the research has shown us that connection that you have with a therapist is a lot more important for your improvement than their schooling, their degree, their expertise, the trainings they've gone through. All of that stuff is less important than the relationship that you can build with them. So if you feel like you can't trust them, you're holding things back from them, that's maybe a sign that you should look someplace else. And most of us know about this research, and so like if somebody seen me a few times and they say, hey, I just don't think it's a good fit, I'm more than happy to provide them with referrals to people that I think might be a better fit for them, because we all want our patients to get better, whether it's with us or with someone else. We really want to see people improve. That's why we got into the field. That's what we want ultimately. So just sort of keep that in mind. Keep evaluating through those early sessions. And again, the first session is usually focused a lot on sort of assessing what's going on, understanding, building a relationship. And then usually from session 2 on is where you get into more of the treatment focus of trying to implement that roadmap, that treatment plan, to start making progress and building skills and learning tools and all of that stuff. Usually that comes session 2 and beyond. But again, throughout that process, keep evaluating. And And there's nothing wrong with asking the question of your therapist of what they think and sort of if they feel like they can help you, and they should hopefully give you an honest answer about that. Let me see, is there anything else? No, I think that's it. So if you guys have any questions about this, please feel free to leave a comment, shoot me a message. I'd be more than happy to chat with you, to understand the process of searching for a therapist. And I know it might seem like I would just tell you that I'm the right therapist for you, but I wouldn't do that, right? Part of this is I'm also evaluating whether or not I feel like the people I talk to are a good fit. And if they're not, again, I'm going to refer them out to somebody who I think will help them more, because I don't want to have people just pay me money and then not be able to help them. That's not what I signed up for. So your therapist should do the same for you. So always feel free to ask about that, how they think it's going as well. So again, if you have any questions, please let me know. If you have anything you'd like me to cover in the next 10 days, leave a message below or leave a comment below here, shoot me a message, and hope you guys have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow.